two Sonic the Hedgehog toys that everybody knows when they were a kid. You have either Toy Island or Resaurus. And now we're going to go over which one is the definitive version of Sonic. Let's have a quick rundown first. As of late, the newest company to make Sonic the Hedgehog figures is Jazzwares. They base their figures off the newer models from the newer games of Sonic. You look at Resaurus, and this Sonic is based off the stock art from the Sonic Adventure game. And that was the first time Sonic's ever been in full 3D, so it's kind of hard to base things off of. You look at Toy Island, and they base their figures off of the models of Sonic Adventure, instead of the stock art like Resaurus. Toy Island and Resaurus are both trying to do the same thing, but kind of doing it differently. So let's go over which one is better. Well, first let's get Resaurus out of the way, since they were the first to do the Sonic Adventure line. In this line, you had Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big the Cat, E102 Gamma, and I believe that's it. Every character came with a stand and a base and a ring. Unfortunately, I don't have any of those, I just have the ring and Sonic. So, we'll go over this real quick. Sonic's sculpt is basically a pretty good sculpt when you're looking at stock art of Sonic, especially from the Sonic Adventure era. They did a perfect job trying to get Sonic's personality down with the figure mold itself, and, well, like I said, they did a great job. Sonic's shoes are oddly enough bent upwards, but if you look at the stock art, that's pretty much why they did that. They're basing everything off stock art. The way they sculpted the hands are just absolutely perfect. You can actually put the ring that he comes with in his hand. It's actually really well. However, these figures are known to break a lot. You can move the arms up, down, backwards, or forwards. You can move the legs backwards and forwards. And you can do what I said with the first, starting with the other arm too. Sonic also seems to be a darker blue, but you probably can't see that because of my camera since I'm in the light. But when you compare it to the Toy Island, you can definitely see that there's a difference in the color. The Sonic Resaurus figure stands about 4 inches tall, and even though I don't have the accessories, he came with a pretty good amount of accessories. We move on to Toy Island and we see where things started to spiral out of control, in my opinion. Like I said, they were basing Sonic and all the other characters in the range off the models that were actually in the Sonic Adventure game. Fun fact of the day, these figures were actually re-released as part of the Sonic X line, back when Toy Island was still making Sonic toys. But when they re-released these as Sonic toys, they fixed up Sonic's head and actually for some reason made it worse. We'll go over the posability in a minute. Let's just talk about the sculpt. The sculpt itself is kinda good, kinda bad, kinda we can live without this type of model, really. It's basically your preference. We can definitely see what era they were trying to base the Sonic off of, but you know, even then it just doesn't hold up. The spikes are definitely better than Resaurus is, but they're also kinda, you know, not spiky like Resaurus is. But whatever. Sonic's eyes also seem to be more oval, or more circular-like than oval-like in Resaurus Sonic's case. Okay, now we'll go down to the posability. The posability, not so great. You can turn the head, you can move the arm up and down, move the other arm up and down, move the leg back and forth. That's one thing that Toy Island stupidly didn't do, that Resaurus did do. By the way, Resaurus, you can turn his head around. Is that Resaurus, you can move the legs, and it can look like he's running. Toy Island can't do that, because these legs snap. This is actually my third Toy Island Sonic, because these guys have just broken on me so many times. It depends, accessory-wise, it depends on which version of this Sonic you got. If you got the Sonic Adventure release, he has magnets in his shoes because he came with a skateboard from Sonic Adventure, so he can go like whoosh. He also came with rings, like Resaurus, but the rings were really small and not very good, and they could easily be lost. He came with Chaos Emeralds too. When you move on to the Sonic X release, there were also 2 versions of that. It was Sonic with 2 Chaos Emeralds with a fixed up head that actually looks worse, and then there was a second release for Sonic X with Sonic with 1 Chaos Emerald and a mini keychain Sonic, and yeah, his head was worse there too. Since these two figures were trying to base the same thing off the same era of Sonic, I have to say that Resaurus does a better job. Toy Island tries, but kind of fails. I mean, Resaurus was working with what they had, and they still made it look good, while Toy Island was working with a model instead of just a picture, and it didn't look all that well, as you can see. Sonic kinda has a goofy expression, but here he has a pretty good expression. Basically the same expression as the Toy Island one, but just sculpted better. Overall, the Resaurus Sonic is a better Sonic, but the bad part is, both these figures are extremely rare now as they're not in production anymore. Trying to find these on eBay can either be really hard or really expensive. But if you can find this instead of this, I'd recommend going for this.